Probably a girl.
A girl.
A girl.
Girl.
I'd rather have a boy.
A boy.
A boy.
A boy.
I'd rather have a boy.
A boy.
Boy and boy.
If I were a boy, I'd put myself first and make the rules as I go. If I were a boy.
The purpose of unnatural selection is to educate people about sex selection and the effects it is having on our global society. Unnatural selection explains the origins of sex selection and the ramifications of it. The information in this book is shocking. Most people know about the one-child policy in China, but they don't see how it pushed China to sex select their babies. They don't know about the drastically skewed sex ratio in China and India, and people don't realize that it is not just a cultural problem, it is a greed problem. People in India and China want to keep or find a way to make money, and they see girls as an expense, not as something to be treasured. Unnatural selection tries to address the issue of fixing this huge imbalance. This book was meant to open people's eyes to how one decision that may seem like it doesn't matter, but in the grand scheme of things, it changes the entire world.
I don't know. Not at all.
I'd rather be born into poverty because then I would just want to work my way up.
Just born into poverty.
Sex selection affects not only the girls that are aborted or never reported, but it affects the entire world population and future generations. It clearly affects the girls that are aborted because they will never get to experience life. But it doesn't just touch the babies. It affects the women that are still here, the ones that are aborting the babies, the ones that are too terrified that they might have a girl that they think they're better off dead and commit suicide, the men that won't ever have wives, and the families and countries that get their daughters, sisters, nieces, granddaughters, and friends stolen from them because there aren't enough women in the world. Having too many men in the population touches each and every one of us. What would a world with mostly men look like?
I think it'd be super chaotic.
Unnatural selection is detrimental to the healthy survival of our society because it's created a rampant demographic masculinization, a never-ending cycle of patriarchal oppression, and a society of violence, with the increase in testosterone equaling more aggression. Male prostitution is on the rise, along with the increase in HIV and AIDS, and return of syphilis and increase in other sexually transmitted diseases. Females are having forced abortions and sterilizations. In India, 13% of all maternal deaths occur because of unsafe abortions. Females are being kidnapped and sold into sex trafficking, there's sex crimes and sex tourism, prostitution, and families are having to guard their female babies closely. There's a reemergence of the foster daughter-in-law, where families take in a young female child and raise her to guarantee having a wife for their son because there's not enough females. A matchmaker brides to foreign countries have increased, creating forced marriage and child marriages, as well as an increase in polyandry.
Do you think that boys or girls are more expensive to raise?
Girls.
While there isn't necessarily anything in terms of race, rather it is a concern of nationality and culture. There is a huge effect on social class. In each of these countries, it is the wealthy who first began sex selection abortion, and this fad spreads downwards towards the masses. The first recording of sex selection was female infanticide, when Britain began taxing and colonizing India. Prior to British involvement, there was not a ritual killing of female infants, nor a patrilineal system that excluded women from property rights. With heavy taxation enforced, Indians of all castes suffered and widespread poverty began. The tradition of bride dowries, in which the bride's family presents the husband and his family with gifts, had suddenly become impossibly difficult. With hardly enough money after taxes, Indians began to realize that having a girl costs more in dowry and provides nothing for property. Women were suddenly the major reason for lower status. With their position in the caste at risk, no money, and the threat of death at the hand of tax collectors, female infanticide began. British officials of the 1700s began recording the presence of female infanticide first in upper castes, who had more land to lose if they didn't have sons. In response, the upper caste demanded higher dowries from lower caste brides marrying up. And with that, the lower caste began killing their daughters to pay for already existing daughters' dowries or to have sons and receive dowries. Even after the independence of India, killing female infants had become a ritual. Another topic is sexuality. While it could help to curb the effects of sex ratio imbalance, these imbalances exist in cultures where homosexuality is taboo. This the author brings up, but does not go into detail on, as there really is no way to use it to our advantage without mass education and funding.
I've heard about it, but I'm not quite too familiar with it. Isn't it like they try to have only one child and like they want it to be a boy
Yeah.
most of the time?
Do you think it's a good way to control population?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Do you think it's good for population control?
I don't know. Yes.
Do you think that's a good way to control the population?
I have mixed feelings on that.
What action has been taken to help remedy the problem? There's been an increase in gender-sensitive policies. Countries are paying parents to keep female babies. The Care for Girls program was started in 1996. There's been an enactment of Prenatal Non-Discrimination Act. In India in 1994, they implemented the Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Regulations and Preventions of Misuse Act. There's been more enforcement of arrests of doctors that perform abortions and have sex-selective ultrasounds. In 2002, Vietnam outlawed marriage matchmaking agencies. In India, they've implemented several cities of India to have female-only trains to help protect women from violence. And the World Bank has hired demographers to help research the problem.
Probably worse. Probably have to hide.
Yeah.
Probably worse. Probably have to hide.